much as we do normally, and then we'll have time for comments, maybe throughout the meeting in our update section, but particularly toward the end of the meeting after we try to resolve some of these ongoing issues. And what we've been doing is really ongoing. I've tried to have the group meet a little more often on average than once a month, although pretty hard to do that with this many people. We have, as we have more people come in, we'll introduce ourselves. Will Ken be here today?
I haven't heard from him, so I'm assuming he will be here.
Okay, I was going to make some introductory comments, which I was really going to fold into my coming down to the meeting. I decided to fold them into our updates comments. We always kind of introduce ourselves. We have some people sometimes on the phone, not introduce ourselves because we know one another, but because sometimes some of us are not all physically here, some of us are calling in on teleconference. I don't think we have a teleconference capacity today.
No, that's right.
Okay. We expect maybe 2 more members. Is that right?
Yeah, we still need Ken and then Bill.
And Bill. For some time, we've been, I think we're on our 4th draft of a report, which is, I think, a 7 or 8 page report at this point, a tentative report. I'm going to start talking more to the group, if you don't mind here. As you all know, we're on our 4th draft, and the major issues, I think, have been resolved, not the major, but the major number of issues that we're going to talk about. Physical safety, noise limitations, flickers, shadow flicker, and conflict resolution. 3 of those 4 are fairly well resolved, I think, based on agreement among our group members. Noise limitations remains to be resolved. There are lots of those issues, and I really wanted to hold off on that issue until we agree on finalizing 3 of those 4 parts of our report: physical safety, shadow flicker, and conflict resolution. Before we do that, though, let's go around and indicate any update information that you've heard about or know about what's occurred in the last month or so. Our last meeting was 3 weeks ago, so we've only had 3 weeks. You know, I don't think I have anything to update. Okay?
I'm trying to think what would be important to this group. The phone transmission work, the ITC is planning to construct. The commission issued the certificate of public convenience and necessity. I can. And
there were a lot of people.
Yeah. And on February 25th, and we talked about it at our last meeting, but we had some appeals filed both here at the commission and at the Court of Appeals about related to funding and jurisdiction and things like that. So, and that line is necessary for some of the projects to come online in the fall.
We're sitting, I got actually came to this Midwest Energy report. A lot of good public information coming out now about the process that went on in Gratiot County, and I think it might be worthwhile having some representatives from that project to kind of discuss what they did and how that worked. They seem to have, according to their reading here, fairly strong support for what's going on.
Maybe
to understand the process that they went through and how they dealt with some of the concerns that were raised.
Do you know anyone from the group you could invite as a representative?
One of the developer there, but there's a guy named Don Scher, apparently is the head of the economic development group, and of course Richard Anderbean was the wind developer there. But there's also an MSU extension person, Dan Rossman. I don't know if you guys know any of those people, but you know, they really had an engagement in the community that seemed to make a lot of difference, and they ended up with you know, addressing a lot of the issues that we're looking at. It'd be interesting to see how they dealt with those.
Where are they based again?
Was the Gratiot County wind farm that's going on, and they're putting up 125 turbines. They'll be spinning in Gratiot County by the end of 2011. Close on the heels of 2 more projects in different stages of development. fix several hundred additional turbines within the next 2 years. But it's kind of interesting, right? What's coming out about this project. It'll be interesting to understand how they went about doing it, and if there's lessons.
You think having one of their reps here would help us get to finalization of our report?
It'd be interesting to see how they must have grappled with the same issues, because they specifically mentioned noise levels here and turbine flicker, specifically.
Okay. Are they pretty far along, do you think?
They've had, according to
Construction.
6 to 9
Okay.
resolutions, unanimous resolutions in support of the project.
So they have zoning restrictions in place, or zoning rules?
Rich Vanderveen sent to me the zoning ordinance for the comment.
What did you see if your contact was able to?
I haven't gotten through the whole
We
thing
haven't
yet.
decided when our next meeting will be, but within the next month. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Bill? No. Why don't we introduce ourselves for the good of the order here? I'm Jerry Punch. I chair, along with Ken as co-chair, this technical work group, which, as most of you know, is to provide a report of the things we agree on, at least, and maybe some things we can't agree on, for public comment. You guys are the public in this case, the working group. I'm told you're maybe 200 strong. Is that the number? Bella?
Oh, the wind working
The
group?
wind working group?
Well, no, it's more like 600-700.
Oh, it's that large?
Yep.
600 or 700 people. So there's going to be plenty of opportunity for comment. We had hoped to get our report in final form, at least draft form, final draft form, if you will, by, I remember one time we talked about March. We mentioned early or late spring.
Good March.
We're still struggling to do that. Yep, we're not that far behind.
The guy today's reported that the Great Lakes Wind Council is going to be putting out a report this summer. They're in the final drafts of that. That includes a number of issues on wind and health and community engagement, education, etc. And that might be. I asked him if we could see a preliminary copy of that, and he's going to check and see.
Okay. So that's basically what we're trying to do here. I'm from MSU, by the way, Michigan State University, the Department of Communicative, it's easier to say, Sciences and Disorders. I've only been on this group for last, I'd say 6 months or less.
And the group has only been around that long.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
Yeah. I'm John Sarver, as many of you know. I chair the Wind Working Group. On this group, I'm representing the Great Lakes Renewable Energy Association.
And I'm Julie Baldwin. I'm the manager of the Renewable Energy section here at the Public Service Commission.
I'm Mark Clevey. I'm the manager of the Renewable Energy Program with the State Energy Office.
I'm Cliff Williams. I'm Director of North American Operations for Orosol Energy, utility scale wind and solar developer.
I'm Ken Rosenman. I'm a physician, epidemiologist. I'm a professor of medicine at Michigan State University, and I'm representing the Michigan State Medical Society.
I believe Mark and John were, and probably Julie was at the meeting with me this morning. Anybody else? Could you, one of you give us a little quick wrap up for the committee purposes?
Mark did the update, so.
Yep, was
My PowerPoint there, the update was that we are in the process of coming up with a report covering these 3 areas: physical safety limitations, staff flicker, and conflict resolution. Committee is how the committee works. The representatives represent technical expertise in specific areas, serving on the technical work group, and that we have received input, best practices, reports, etc. And we're now in the process of distilling those down into a series of recommendations, which will be recommendations to local communities on how they should address these issues in their local zoning laws associated with wind farms, because we have no legal authority to set standards or regulate this process, and any of this.
okay.
It's worth noting, too, that, at the end of the meeting, we specifically showed people how to sign up for the MREP listserv.
Sure.
So, because it was mentioned by me that, you know, whatever this group comes up with will go off for public comment, and we're gonna use that mechanism, and maybe other mechanisms too, but at a minimum, we'll use that mechanism to get whatever we recommend out to the general public for comment.
And we had agreed not to put anything on that website in way of a draft report until we think it's fairly final draft report from our group. Right? Okay. Any other comments here?
I was just curious if the meeting's being taped. I hate to interrupt like that. Or something.
I don't think it's being taped by us, is it?
No.
Is there a need to tape it? Is that what you're suggesting?
Oh, I don't know. I was just wondering if.
Is the camera on there?
Yes, the camera's on, just taping it for interested public.
Okay. That's it, okay?
Doesn't matter to me.
I guess that's, it's
Okay, I
probably,
just
it's
wanted
a
to
public
make sure the
meeting.
committee understood
Yeah,
that that was
thanks.
happening. I wasn't sure if everyone
Thanks.
was aware of that. I saw some recording devices.
I also recognize Sam, is it Flick? Frick, who's a student assistant who helps us gather documents and sort of collate and organize documents. He's put together some very nice two documents, one domestic and one domestic U.S. and one international document summarizing when zoning rules, regulations, and so on.
It's worth, you know, a number of questions came up this morning about who was on this group, how did it get started, whatever. It's probably worth noting that we have a retired engineer from Consumers Energy, who I believe Bill is an electrical engineer, and he came to us after I made an inquiry to the Michigan Society of Professional Engineers. But that is the group, that's the seven of us, unless I forgot somebody.
We've had a couple of people interested in joining the group, but we felt it was too far along to start over in that sense, so we've asked them to.
We had a noise expert in the very beginning, but he went away, remember?
Consulting engineer, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was that Brown?
I
Darren Brown?
It was on, when he came back, I think, one or two meetings.
I came across his card
Yep.
today. Darren
Yep.
Brown, I think, is a
Yep.
engineer, probably was him.
He initially agreed and then resigned. Yeah.